we are all made of two elements, the masculine and the feminine. We have both these qualities inside us. And because Shiva, God, was there in India, we can relate to this masculine and feminine in each of us, and then even talk about it like there are two beings as the masculine and the feminine. And this is something very unique to India, because the yin yang exists in the Far East, and even in the West exist many different forms of God, and the masculine and the feminine. But in India we can relate to Shiva and Shakti, that is a man who is Shiva, God, and Shakti is his other half. But it is very complex to understand. But what this video is about is, we all know that we all love Shiva, but I wanted to know from Shiva, what does he think of Shakti? So just let's ask Shiva, what does he think of Shakti? So he says, what do I think of Shakti? I do not think of her as something separate enough to be judged. So you see, these two elements, masculine and feminine, are in one body, and he is always, these two elements are always together. So, but just to romanticize everything, to see how the masculine force loves the feminine. In today's world, there is a lot of divide between the masculine and the feminine, and this is really unnatural, because the division is not real, because we both have both these aspects all the time. So imagine your masculine side talking about your feminine side, and that is why here Shiva is talking about what Shakti is to him. And you will have an idea about what a woman is to a man. Inside you, these two factors, if you do not respect both of them equally, what is it? And during history, we have seen that the women were not given the same status or the same power as the men, mainly because men were physically stronger, but somehow it got all lost that both of these things are necessary for humans to be complete. So there is God, Shiva, is telling that Shakti, I do not think of her as something separate enough to be judged. When I am still, she is the power behind. She is the power hidden within stillness. So when you see Shiva meditating all the time, it is because the power behind that stillness is Shakti. When I dance, she is the dance. So all humans, when they are moving and doing their work or doing anything, it is because of the power of Shakti within them. So it's their femininity that makes them move their body, because the masculine aspect is stability and stillness. So you can imagine, so if you do not give the same value to a woman, the half of society is not, it's not really going to work very well, because it's so unnatural. So we continue. I'll just read what Shiva says and you can see for yourself. When I dance, she is the dance. When stars are born, she is their birth. When lovers meet, she is the longing between them. When a seed breaks open and reaches for the sun, she is that reaching. How shall I form an opinion of my own heartbeat? How shall I stand apart from the fire and evaluate its warmth? I know her from within, and yet in the stories, Shiva often looks upon Shakti with wonder, not because he is discovering her for the first time, but because the infinite delights in seeing itself expressed in endless forms. A mountain, a river, a mother, a warrior, a poet. The same power wearing different faces. So perhaps the deepest answer is not that Shiva thinks Shakti is beautiful, wise, powerful, or sacred. It is wherever he truly sees her, he recognizes himself. And wherever she truly sees him, she recognizes herself, not as identical, but as inseparable. So these two forces are inseparable, and when we force it to be separate, man and woman, we create a very big imbalance in the psyche, in the atmosphere, in the mind, the wars taking place. Everything is an imbalance of the masculine and the feminine inside us. So you can see Shiva, how much he loves Shakti. If you imagine the 0-point field, if you imagine God, before anything existed, there was just this energy existing in the cosmos, and then it decides to take form. And this is when Shakti becomes the form and Shiva becomes the stillness, holds the place, and Shakti moves and creates. So how can these two be apart? Inside every human being, these two are needed to be equally balanced.